Hello everybody, so we are on the topic of development, and in this brief video I will cover the topic of attachment. So we define attachment as an emotional bond to another human being. In children, it is often, in very young children, it is often manifested as a desire for physical closeness to a caregiver, but we continue to have attachment needs throughout lifespan. So let's talk about a very well-known and somewhat controversial experiment that was conducted by Harry Harlow in the 50s and 60s with monkeys that he separated at birth from their mothers, and he placed the monkeys in a cage with two surrogate mothers. As you see, on one side there's a wire mother that provides milk, and on the right hand side is the cloth mother that doesn't have a bottle attached to it, but it's nice and fuzzy. And so one of the questions for the researchers was, well, where is this monkey going to spend the majority of his or her time? And it turns out that the monkey will spend a great majority of its time on the cloth mother. And as you see in this picture, it will hang on to the cloth mother and just reach for the milk on the wire mother. And what's important about this experiment is that it basically showed the importance of body contact, that young animals need that physical contact with caregiver to develop a healthy attachment. So how about humans? Can we actually, we seem to need attachment just as much as monkeys, and we know from some experiments of nature, some very unfortunate situations where children have been deprived of attachment, that when we do not receive appropriate attachment as infants, toddlers, and young children, we can actually have very serious developmental delays and emotional problems that can last a lifetime. It also turns out that even when most of us receive, most of the caregiving that we need, not all caregiving relationships are created equal as far as quality of attachment goes. And so we have something called the strange situation, which is basically an experimental procedure that studies or looks at the relationship, the quality of the attachment between a caregiver and a young child. The child is typically a toddler, maybe 12 or 18 months old. And what that shows is that there are actually different types of attachment. So what are we looking for in the strange situation? Well, this is how it works. A mom or a caregiver and her child will be in a room that's unfamiliar, and it's filled with a lot of really fun toys. And what you will see is that children will typically be very interested in playing with the toys, but they also need to feel secure because it's an unfamiliar setting, and that's anxiety provoking. So they will typically go and reconnect with their caregiver as a way of staying sort of safe and feeling safe in the environment. So the strange situation actually places some stress on the young child by asking the mother to leave the room. And what happens when mom leaves the room typically is that the child will be quite distressed, but the experimenters are mostly interested in how the child responds to mom when she returns, okay? A securely attached child, that's the child who feels safe in the world, will go to mom, reconnect, and be calmed almost immediately. Okay? And that's basically a way of the child showing to us that when mom is there, she or he feels safe. Okay? Mom provides the source of security that the child immediately feels upon reunion. An insecurely attached child can have one of two reactions to mom's returning. One is that the child continues to be upset, cries, or even hits mom when she picks her up, or the child pretends like she doesn't even notice that mom is back, or seems to act indifferent to mother's return. And that does not necessarily mean that the child is feeling secure or independent. It just means that the child doesn't show distress, but when measured with physiological assessments, we know that these children experience a high level of physiological arousal that's indicative of distress. Okay? So this covers it for the video. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you next time.